Hi, this is Mark from Wiki Design. In this Spline tutorial, I'm going to show you a really cool way to display a custom dynamic 3D message when a user submits a form. So let me show you exactly what we're going to be pulling off in this tutorial. I just want to go ahead and enter in my first name, Mark, right here, and hit send. Now watch what happens on the next page. Tell me that's not pretty cool. As you can see right down here, in real time, it was able to take my name when I submitted it, and now it's in a 3D model on this page. In order to follow this tutorial step by step, you will need Elementor Pro and Spline. But if you aren't using Elementor, you can still use the code that I'm going to give you, and you can apply it to whatever platform you're on. So let's go ahead and Spline and show you exactly what I have set up, and I'm going to go step by step on how I was able to pull this off. And here we are inside of that spline scene, and instead of recreating this from scratch, what you can do is I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to remix it. You can use it on your own website. But this is going to be a very short little walkthrough on how I was able to dynamically assign just the name down here to a variable. So what you need to do is just click right here in the blank, and what we need to do is first go ahead and set a variable. So in this situation, when you look on the right side, so when you click on those four dots, it's going to pull up the variables being used in this scene. So as you can see, I just have the one variable right here called Wiki Design. So in your situation, you may need to click the plus button, and then I'm using this one right here called string, because this right here is going to be a string, and it's not a number or a Boolean. This needs to be a string, because in the next steps, we're going to be using JavaScript to override this string right here. And in this situation, what I'm calling my string name is just Wiki Design. So call this whatever you want, but you're going to need to make sure that you know what it is, because in the code, you need to reference this right here. And then right down here, this is just the default variable for Wiki Design. So now what you can do is, once you have your variable, you need to click on the text down here. And if you look up here where it says content, you see that little dot? I'm going to point an arrow to it. Once you click that, you can see this plus button, and then you need to just assign that variable to that content. So basically, it's just saying, use this variable to fill in that content. Once you have all of that, you can go ahead and export it, and I'm going to give you all the code. So if you want, what you can do is just click the update code on your scene, and you need to just copy this one right here. So you just need to copy this string. This is going to be your unique URL to just this scene. So now let's jump into the back end of an Elementor page and show you how I have everything set up. So now we need to go and add that scene to its own page. So as you can see in the demo, I just have this page called Spline Name. And whatever you call this URL up here, that's going to be very important, because that's what it's going to redirect when someone submits a form or whatever you want to have. It's going to have to redirect to a URL. So let's go ahead and jump in this page, and let me show you all the code I have set up. As you can see in this scene, it's just one big container with an HTML widget, and it just has this code right here. That's all it is on this page. So I'm going to leave a link in the description below, of course, to download all of this. So let me go ahead and walk through most of this information and what you may need to update in order for this to work. This very first line this is actually the canvas, so this is what's rendering out in the browser, so you need to leave that one alone. And right down here, this is the URL that Spline can give you to run this JavaScript. Now, if you have a local server, you can always go ahead and download it when you're inside of your Spline scene. So if you go here and you click the download zip button, you can go ahead and host this runtime.js file locally. That will help a little bit with performance. Next this is just kind of default export stuff inside of Spline. You don't need to update anything here. But right down here is where I'm using some more dynamic code. So as you can see, I have everything kind of commented out. This section right here is the custom code that's going to pull in that first name from that contact form. So the only thing that you need to really update and match is when we create your contact form in your next section, whatever you call it right here, you see where it says first name, you're going to have to make sure that your field name matches up to this, or it's not going to work. And then this right here where it says first name, this is the default name right here, the default value. So if I go ahead and just add like a 2 behind it, you'll see it's going to reload the scene, and it's going to have first name 2. So whatever you want to have as the default value. In most cases, that's not really going to matter, because they're going to get redirected to this page. But if for some reason somebody stumbles across this page, without going through the form, at least it will show something. So that's what this value is right here. Then right down here, this is going to be your unique URL to your spline scene. So as you can see, that was the one I told you to copy to your clipboard. So you're just going to want to go ahead and paste that in right there. Then down here, this is where that variable comes into play. So as you can see, this is now saying set the variable. So this right here, if you remember in Spline, we called this one wiki design. That's what we call that variable. So as you can see, it's right here. So call it whatever you need, but just make sure that that variable name matches up right here or this isn't going to work. And then this is just kind of pulling in the value right here from this function. So basically, you just need to change out 3 things. To recap, it's this right here. This is your variable name. You're going to want to make sure you change out your URL right here. And then this is going to be the form name. In this situation, I'm just going to call it first name. So once you have all of that, what we can do is go ahead and update. And what you need to do now is make sure that you grab the URL to this page. And as you can see right here, it's just called wikidemo.com/wikidesign/spline name. So what I recommend is copy that URL to your clipboard because we're going to be using that in the next page. So now let's go ahead and set up that form and show you how the redirect's going to work. Here we are on the back end of that contact form page where the user is going to first interact with. So this needs to be its own independent page, and then what we're going to do is redirect it to the page that we just created right here. So as you can see, this is just using the simple form right here inside of Elementor Pro. I just have one item, which is the first name, and then the send button. So let's go ahead and first make sure that you have everything correct. And in this situation, it's just type is the text, so we just want to make it text. And the placeholder, it could just be, you could put name, first name, whatever it may be. So under advanced is going to be the most important thing. Where it says ID, we need to make sure this says first name. So if we go back into here, that's what this is right here. So if you are not calling that first name on the contact form, this isn't going to work. So you need to go ahead and make sure that those two match up. Then what we need to do is underneath actions after submit, I have a redirect. So just make sure that you add a redirect right here. And now if we go underneath the redirect, let me show you the URL. As you can see, this is the URL from that scene right here. So that's what that one was called. Spline-name is the name of the page. This right here is going to be where everything's going to be happening. So as you can see, we need to add the string, and it's called question mark first name equals. So that first name is, if we go back into the form fields, what you can do is, we know that the name ID is first name, but then we need to copy this short code right here. So this short code is going to be the value of whatever someone enters their name in right here. So that's what this short code does, is basically when I type in the word Mark, it's going to know that inside this short code, the value equals Mark. So let me go back under redirect and show you how this is set up. So we have first name equals, and then you just need to paste in that short code, and that's it. So now it knows whenever I do the redirect, if I enter the word Mark in, it's going to say first name equals Mark. So go ahead, hit update on this page, and now do some testing on the front end, and then you can see how the URLs are going to work. And I'm going to show you a cool little trick you can do to just test out different names really fast. Here we are on the front end of that page, and let's just do another test. So if we type in Mark, hit send. As you can see, it gets redirected to question mark first name, and then equals, and then this was the short code. So that short code is now converted over into my name. So a cool little trick you can do is, now that you kind of know how everything is set up, you can go ahead and just type in any other name in here. So you can type in Barbara, and then you can just hit enter. And when you do that, you're going to see that it automatically puts her name in here instead of mine. So now that you understand how this works inside the URL and have it update your 3D model, you aren't tied to just using it as like a contact form redirect. You can use it for basically anything you can think of. So you could have a situation where you could just email someone a URL like this and have their name in here, and then their name would be inside of a pretty cool like 3D scene all in real time. So yeah, the possibilities are really endless using this type of functionality. And that's it for this Spline tutorial. Make sure you give it a like, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and hit that bell to receive notifications when I release new tutorials like this. Again, this is Mark from Wiki Design.